Hi, and welcome to Tech Talk. My name is Martin Scott, and I am the co-founder and executive director of the National GM Roadster Club. The National GM Roadster Club services the Pontiac, Solstice, Saturn Sky, and Opel GT communities of the world. For more information on GM Roadster Club, please visit www.gmroadster.com. So today on Tech Talk, we're going to kind of explore the world of charge pipes. What is a charge pipe? What do they do for me? How can I upgrade them? In turn, get a little bit more power out of my car. So let's dive right into this. What is a charge pipe? Well, this is a charge pipe. This is a charge pipe off of a 2007 Saturn Sky Redline. What do they do for me? Well, they carry the charged airflow from your turbocharger down to your intercooler. The intercooler then in turn reduces the charge intake temperatures and then out the intercooler into your intake manifold, all the while keeping a closed loop system. So, how do they work for me? Well, essentially this is the charge pipe off of the passenger side of the vehicle. This goes from the turbocharger down to the intercooler. This is the charge pipe off of the driver's side, and as you can clearly see, it comes up from the intercooler up and over your radiator. There's a sensor bung here, and it goes into your intake manifold. Now here's where the problem lies. We all know about boost, but what we rarely talk about is airflow. So boost will create torque. High boost creates torque down low in the RPM band. Ultimately, airflow is what's going to get you those big horsepower numbers. Now, GM, when they built our vehicles, they had a set of technical specifications and goals that needed to be met. So these pipes that they produced met those goals. They said that we want the car to be able to make 260 motor horsepower, 260 motor torque, and they did that. Let's translate that to wheel horsepower and wheel torque. We've thrown hundreds of these cars on the dyno, and they all make within a couple horsepower bone stock. They make about 220 to 225 wheel horsepower and about 235 to 240 wheel torque. And on a regular stock tune, they work great. But we do see one key indicator. When we throw these cars on the dyno, and they do have these stock charge pipes, we tend to see the dyno will start, the run will start, it'll go up, it'll peak at about 3,800 RPMs, and then it starts to fall right back down. So one would say, well, why does my motor lose power as the boost and the airflow increases and the RPMs? It looks like a big mountain. It goes up, it peaks at 3,800 RPMs, and it comes right back down. Well, that's because of airflow. You've got a lot of boost on the low end, which brings you up to your peak, and what happens is, if I can show you, you see these bends, these crimps right here in the stock charge pipes? What happens is you start to get some back pressure created right here, because as your RPMs increase and your turbocharger's blowing, you start to run into a blockage right here. And on the driver's side, it's even more prevalent. As you can see right here, there's a huge bend right there. You've got about a 50% loss in area. You go from a perfectly round pipe to about 50% back to a perfectly round pipe. So one would say, why would General Motors do this to me? Why would they put these nasty crimps in there that would cost me horsepower? Well, the fact of the matter is, again, it goes back to technical specifications and goals. These pipes meet those specs and they meet those goals, and so and these pipes are actually formed using a method that's called press bending. So what happens is they start out with a straight piece of pipe, and there is a mold, and a robotic arm basically presses this straight pipe over the mold and creates this charge pipe. They do the same thing here, and because this radius happens to be so great, you end up with a greater press bend right here. So, that's what happens. And so when we started tuning these cars in 2007, we noticed that that arc got even greater. The arc actually hit at 3,600 RPMs, and it would just fall right back down. So we were like, okay, well, the cars are making more horsepower, which is great, but there's got to be more. So we dove into this, and obviously there are other manufacturers out there that have done the same thing, and we all came to the same conclusion that it's these bends right here that are costing us valuable horsepower. So what we did is we set out, we did some engineering, and we created these. These are the RPM Motorsports upgraded fully mandrel bent charge pipes for the Pontiac Solstice GXP, Saturn Sky Redline, and Opel GT. Now, as you can see, here's a factory pipe with that nasty bend, and here's its counterpart with a perfect mandrel bend. So the process that these pipes go through is a lot more care. These pipes are built here in Arizona, so they are made in the USA. These are not outsourced to China like a couple of other companies do. We do like to keep the manufacturing here in the US. So again, here's your factory pipe with that nasty bend, and here's the lovely fully mandrel bent pipe going up and over the radiator with your sensor block. Now, these are available today and are in stock at strictlyaftermarket.com. That's www.strictlyaftermarket.com. And they're available for $275 per set, and they come powder coated in what we call strictly red. Other colors are available for purchase. Please check the website for current pricing and product availability. So that's kind of where we're at. So what we did here is, after we R&D'd these pipes and we threw them on the car, we took the same car back to the dyno, and here's what we saw. We saw the same peak, because you got boost that's creating your peak. Peak was actually a little bit higher because the airflow down low was, even that was helped, and it basically stays straight. So you have a peak that comes up and it's basically flat and linear all the way to red line, and that's what these do. So you're able to carry your available horsepower and torque all the way to red line. So with the factory pipes, you're basically peaking on your horsepower and it's falling off all the way to red line. So you're not making that peak horsepower all the way to red line. With the aftermarket pipes, you are peaking and you're holding peak horsepower and torque all the way to red line. So it was really a great improvement on the car. So if there's one thing that you can do to your Solstice GXP, Sky Redline, Opel GT is, I would strongly recommend getting rid of those crimped pipes and get yourself a set of aftermarket mandrel bent charge pipes. Thank you for joining us in Tech Talk. My name is Martin Scott, co-founder of National GM Roadster Club. Till next time.